For my presentation, I have chosen to interpret the work of David Hurn. Hurn has ultimately earned himself an international reputation as one of Britain's most influential reportage photographers. Hurn did take many photos around the world, but most of his work was dedicated to showcasing ethically evaluative and interpretive photographs, both in the United Kingdom and especially Wales, the land of his birth. Most of his early work was showcased in black and white, but eventually Hurn's focus shifted from current affairs to a more personal approach and utilized more color throughout his photography. This first photograph is one of his earliest, taken in 1955 on a Kodak folding retina camera on the streets of London. This photograph is interpretive because the subject of the photo, the solo dog in the foreground, leaves the viewer wondering what the dog might be gazing at in the shop window. The photograph uses a vertical composition with a one-point perspective which draws the attention further into the photograph, where the viewer then notices that the streets are completely vacant except for the dog. The black and white color scheme adds to the eeriness of the photo by allowing for the dog to be the main focus of the image without any colors of the surroundings as a disruption. This next photograph is simply titled New Yorkers and the American Flag and was taken in 1962. This photograph is ethically evaluative as it shows citizens walking about the streets of Manhattan. By choosing to compose the photo vertically and at a slight upward angle, Hurn is able to capture the faces of the three women walking towards him, as well as the tall skyscrapers, which are lined with draping American flags. Again, Hurn uses a one-point perspective, utilizing the repetition of the flags. Also, by capturing the entire height of the building in the background, it really gives depth and scale to the photograph. Lastly, the black and white color scheme highlights the shadows cast on the buildings created by the front lighting of the sun. This next photograph is titled American Restaurants and was taken in 1962 in New York. Like the first two, this photograph's composition uses a one-point perspective, utilizing the people sitting on the bar stools to pull the eyes of the viewer all the way through the photo. Sticking to the black and white color scheme allows the viewer to see the contrast in clothing of each person, which really helps break up the photograph. By not being able to see the faces of any of the people, this photo becomes interpretive because it leaves the viewer wondering what is being discussed amongst the customers. This next photograph takes a different approach than the first three, as it uses a no-point perspective. The use of front lighting allows for an excellent examination of each subject's unique facial expression and also creates a dark background, which adds mysteriousness to the photo. And again, by using a black and white color scheme, there is a clear distinction between subjects in the background without any disruption. Without knowing what is going on in the photo, it can be very interpretive. The picture did come with a caption that said, "Members of the Welsh National Opera at rehearsal," giving the viewer an indication of their expressions. Now to change directions a bit, I will interpret some of Hurn's color photographs. This first one is titled Bikes in the Snow and was taken much more recently in 2009. The simplicity of this photo is what makes it so aesthetically evaluative. The photo is mostly a neutral color with white, gray, and black, but with three primary colors of red, blue, and yellow, it allows for some contrast. By composing the photo with a slight high perspective, Hurn was able to capture that the snow fell in a single direction, covering only a portion of the bikes. This next photograph is both ethically evaluative and interpretive. This was taken in Manhattan in 2002. The complementary colors of the red in the flag and hot dog, with the green in the wall of the background, allow the subjects of the photo to stand out very clearly. The words "Eat Me" written across the hot dog and with the American flag in the background could be interpreted a number of ways, whether the placement was intentional or not. The last photograph, taken in 2002, is titled The National Botanic Garden of Wales. It is aesthetically evaluative because it uses the neutral color of the sky to contrast with the monochromatic colors of green within the gardens. Hurn uses the rule of thirds composition by only having the sky in the top third of the photo. Additionally, the curve of the garden gives this photograph a one-point perspective while utilizing the repetition of the alternating folds of the garden. Thank you for watching my multimodal presentation of my interpretation of David Hurn's photographs. I would like to end by sharing a quote from Hurn. "Life as it unfolds in front of the camera is full of so much complexity, wonder, and surprise that I find it unnecessary to create new realities. There is more pleasure, for me, in things as they are."